A new lawsuit has been filed. It names the famous rapper Drake. It also names the streamer Adin Ross. Two consumers started this case. They filed it in a federal court in Virginia. They claim Drake and Ross were part of a big scheme. The lawsuit is about money from an online casino. The casino is called Stake.us. The case says they broke a law called the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act. Most people just call this law RICO. The people who filed the lawsuit are Tiffany Hines, LaShawna Ridley. This is a class action lawsuit. It means one case can represent a large group of people. The lawsuit alleges Drake, Adin Ross helped promote the online casino Stake.us. They used their huge platforms to get people to visit and use the site. The complaint says that this promotion led many users to the casino. These users would then gamble with real money on the platform. The lawsuit claims this was just the first step in a much larger plan. The plaintiffs argue the money gambled by users did not just stay with the casino. It was allegedly moved around in ways not easy to track. According to the lawsuit, Stake.us was used as more than just a casino. The complaint calls it an unlimited, wholly unregulated money transmitter. Plaintiffs say the platform acted like a secret bank. They claim it allowed defendants to move large amounts of money without the usual oversight from financial regulators. The lawsuit says those hidden transfers funded a campaign to artificially boost Drake's music streams. It claims the money paid for automated bots, streaming farms, services that use computers, not real people, to play a song over and over, inflating play counts on platforms like Spotify. The lawsuit argues this manipulation did more than help Drake. It also hurt other artists. By pushing fake numbers up, it suppressed authentic artists and made it harder for listeners to find new, legitimate music. The suit also says money funded amplification campaigns. Those campaigns promoted Drake's music further, and the complaint alleges they sometimes went further, targeting competitors with negative or disparaging content. Plaintiffs say all this forms a pattern of racketeering activity. They believe Drake, Ross, and Nguyen formed an enterprise to carry out the scheme, using Stake.us as their financial tool to make it all happen. They say this group has been breaking the law since at least 2022. It's a big deal to sue famous people. This is a civil lawsuit, not a criminal case. In a civil case, the people suing are asking for money. They say they were harmed or lost money. The goal is compensation, not jail. Even so, the claims are still very serious. The lawsuit also alleges violations of consumer protection laws. The core claim, money was used in a secret, illegal way. Plaintiffs say money from the casino paid for fake streams of Drake's music. Fake streams can inflate a song's popularity. That can lead to more streaming revenue and higher chart positions. The lawsuit is trying to prove this and link the named people to the plan. This is a complex case with many moving parts. This is the central accusation linking the casino to music. The complaint details how the boost supposedly worked. To understand the full scope of this class action lawsuit, we need to rewind the clock. The story, as laid out in the legal complaint, begins in 2022. This isn't just an arbitrary date. It's the year the plaintiffs allege a coordinated, illegal enterprise was formed. According to the filing, this is the moment the first pieces were put on the board, setting the stage for a multi-year operation that would eventually lead to federal court. The complaint uses this starting point to establish what it calls a pattern of racketeering activity, a crucial element for its civil RICO claims. It argues that the events that followed were not isolated incidents, but part of a continuous, calculated scheme. The catalyst, according to the lawsuit, was a landmark promotional deal signed in 2022 between the musician Drake and Stake.us. At the time, news reports buzzed with speculation about the partnership's value, with some sources estimating it to be worth a staggering $100 million per year. This wasn't just a simple endorsement, it was a deep integration of Drake's personal brand with the Stake.us platform. Stake.us operates as a social casino, a model that uses sweepstakes mechanics. Users play with virtual currencies, often called gold coins for fun, and stake cash, which can be redeemed for prizes, a system that allows it to operate in jurisdictions where traditional online gambling is restricted. The plaintiffs allege this model is central to the scheme. Following the announcement of this lucrative deal, Drake began actively promoting Stake.us to his vast audience. He would host live streams, broadcasting his own gameplay on the platform. These streams weren't just casual sessions, they were high-production events, often featuring massive wagers and dramatic wins and losses, all designed to showcase the excitement of the platform. Millions of followers would tune in, watching him interact with the site in real time. The complaint argues these streams were a powerful and direct form of marketing, presenting a curated and allegedly misleading picture of the chances of winning. It is this combination, the massive promotional deal and the subsequent streaming activities, that the plaintiffs identify as the formation of the alleged enterprise. The lawsuit claims this is precisely when the pattern of racketeering began. The legal theory presented is that Drake, Adin Ross, and Stake.us were no longer separate entities in this context. Instead, they allegedly began operating as a cohesive unit with a common purpose: to unlawfully funnel money from viewers to the platform. The lawsuit points to a series of public interactions between Drake and fellow streamer Adin Ross as key evidence of this alleged coordination. It claims they would openly exchange large sums of virtual currency on the platform during these live streams. These weren't subtle off-screen transactions. The complaint alleges these transfers were performed publicly, in full view of their audiences, often accompanied by on-air commentary about the exchange. The plaintiffs contend these were not genuine gifts or loans, but staged events. The amounts mentioned in the complaint are substantial, reportedly ranging from $10,000 to $100,000 per transaction. The plaintiffs argue that these public transfers served a specific purpose within the alleged scheme. They claim these funds were used to create a false impression that Adin Ross was playing with his own money when, in reality, he was allegedly being funded by Drake and Stake.us. This, the lawsuit argues, was done to add a layer of authenticity to the streams and to encourage viewers to deposit their own real money. The complaint alleges this was not a short-term promotion but a continuous, uninterrupted operation that spanned multiple years. The timeline of alleged activity stretches from the initial deal in 2022 all the way up to the present day. This long duration is a critical component of the plaintiff's case, as civil RICO claims require proving a pattern of prolonged related activity, not just a handful of isolated incidents. This brings us to the official legal action. The class action lawsuit was formally filed by lead plaintiffs Tiffany Hines and LaShawna Ridley on December 31, 2025. They filed the case in the United States District Court for the Eastern District of Virginia, a federal court known for its rocket docket due to the speed at which it processes cases. The official public filing was then announced by their legal representatives at Impresa Legal Group on January 2, 2026. This means that as of today, January 10, 2026, the case is brand new. The legal gears are only just beginning to turn, and the claims made in the complaint have yet to be tested in court. The legal process is just getting started. The Eastern District of Virginia has issued summonses ordering Drake, Adin Ross, and Stake.us CEO George Nguyen to formally respond to the complaint. They have been given a standard deadline of 21 days to file their answer. This initial response will be a critical document, as it will provide the first official look at their defense strategy and how they intend to counter the serious allegations laid out by the plaintiffs. Stake.us is an online casino. It is what is known as a sweepstakes casino. This model is a bit different from traditional online gambling sites. In many parts of the United States, online gambling for real money is not legal. Sweepstakes casinos operate in a gray area of the law. They allow users to play casino-style games like slots, blackjack. Users can play for free with virtual currency. However, they can also purchase more virtual currency. These purchases often come with bonus sweeps, coins, that can be redeemed for real cash prizes. The lawsuit claims that Stake.us is much more than just a gaming site. It describes the platform as a financial tool used by the defendants. The complaint alleges that the platform functions as an unregulated money transmitter. This is a serious claim. It suggests that the site allows money to be moved around without the normal checks and balances that banks and other financial institutions have. The involvement of Drake and Adin Ross is key to the allegations. Drake signed a huge promotional deal with Stake in 2022. He has a massive following, and his promotion brought a lot of attention and new users to the site. Adin Ross is a very popular streamer who also heavily promotes Stake.us. The lawsuit says they use their influence to lure their followers into gambling on the site. The plaintiffs, who are consumers, say they were among the people drawn to the site because of these promotions. The lawsuit at the heart of this case invokes a powerful and complex federal law, the RICO Act. RICO is an acronym that stands for the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act. While the name itself sounds intimidating, understanding its components is key to grasping the seriousness of these allegations. It's a piece of legislation designed to address organized, long-term criminal behavior, and its use in a civil lawsuit like this one is a significant legal strategy. To understand why RICO exists, we have to go back to its origins. The law was passed in 1970 as part of the broader Organized Crime Control Act. Its primary target at the time was the mafia. Before RICO, law enforcement faced a major problem. They could often arrest and convict low-level criminals, the foot soldiers, but the leaders who ordered the crimes and reaped the profits remained insulated, their hands legally clean. These kingpins were notoriously difficult to prosecute because they rarely participated directly in the crimes themselves. The government needed a new tool, one that could bridge the gap between the street-level offenses and the masterminds at the top of the pyramid. RICO was designed to be that tool, allowing prosecutors to target the entire criminal organization as a single entity. So, how does it work? Essentially, RICO allows prosecutors to bundle together a series of seemingly separate crimes, known as predicate acts, to demonstrate a larger, ongoing criminal conspiracy. It doesn't invent new crimes. Instead, it creates severe new penalties for committing a pattern of existing crimes on behalf of a criminal enterprise. This allows the law to connect the dots, linking the actions of individual members back to the organization and its leadership. The goal is to charge the people at the top who organized, ordered, or profited from the whole operation, even if they didn't personally commit each underlying act. To successfully use the RICO law in court, a plaintiff has to prove several key elements. The first is the existence of an enterprise. This is a crucial concept. An enterprise isn't just a random group of people, it's a structured organization, formal or informal, where individuals work together for a common purpose over a continuous period. According to the lawsuit, the enterprise in this case was allegedly comprised of the rapper Drake, the streamer Adin, their associate George Nguyen, and the online casino platform, Stake. The complaint argues that these parties formed a cohesive group with the shared goal of executing the alleged scheme. The second required element is demonstrating a pattern of racketeering activity. This sounds technical, but it simply means the enterprise committed at least 2 related crimes from a long list defined by the RICO statute. These underlying offenses or predicate acts can include everything from bribery and extortion to fraud and money laundering. In this specific lawsuit, the plaintiffs claim the primary racketeering activity was wire fraud. They allege that the defendants repeatedly used the internet, electronic communications, and interstate wire transfers to knowingly execute their scheme. Each allegedly deceptive stream, each electronic payment, and each transfer of funds could, in theory, be considered a separate instance of wire fraud, forming the required pattern. The complaint lays out the alleged scheme in detail. It claims the enterprise worked together to promote the Stake online casino, move money through the platform, and then use that money to pay for what the lawsuit describes as fake or artificially inflated music streams. Critically, the lawsuit argues this was not a one-time event or a series of isolated incidents. It alleges a continuous pattern of activity that began in 2022 and continued over an extended period. This element of continuity is essential for a RICO claim, as the law is meant to target sustained criminal operations, not single disconnected offenses. The plaintiffs are framing this as a coordinated, ongoing criminal operation with a clear structure and purpose. While RICO was born as a criminal statute, it also includes a provision that allows private citizens to file civil lawsuits. Using RICO in civil court is a powerful and aggressive legal move. If the plaintiffs can prove their case, the law provides for exceptionally large financial penalties. A successful plaintiff can be awarded not just their actual losses, but triple the amount of damages they suffered. This is known as treble damages. The purpose of this provision is twofold: to fully compensate the victims for the harm caused by the organized fraud, and just as importantly, to severely punish the defendants and create a strong deterrent to discourage others from engaging in similar conduct. The RICO Act certainly sounds scary, often bringing up images of mob bosses and dramatic courtroom showdowns. But over the decades, its application has expanded far beyond traditional organized crime. It has become a formidable tool for regular people and businesses to use in civil court to fight what they allege are complex organized fraud schemes, just as the plaintiffs in this case are attempting to do. Section 6. Civil case versus criminal case. It is very important to understand the difference between a civil case and a criminal case. This lawsuit against Drake and Adin Ross is a civil case. In a criminal case, the government brings the charges. A prosecutor accuses someone of breaking a criminal law. The goal is to determine if the person is guilty or not guilty, and the standard of proof is very high, beyond a reasonable doubt. A civil case is different. It is a dispute between private parties, like individuals or companies. One party, the plaintiff, sues another party, the defendant. The plaintiff claims the defendant has harmed them, usually by causing a financial loss or a personal injury. The goal of a civil case is not to send anyone to jail. The goal is to get compensation, usually money, for the harm that was done. This is what is happening in the Drake lawsuit. The plaintiffs, Tiffany Hines and Lashana Ridley, are saxon one cell one serbar for a Erdino one son Sadanian or asking one crore sign sewing for one sum for money damages. The standard of proof in a civil case is lower, a preponderance of the evidence, more likely than not, much easier than beyond a reasonable doubt. Even though this is a civil case, the use of the RICO Act makes it serious. A civil RICO claim alleges behavior associated with criminal activity. While Drake and the others are not facing jail time from this lawsuit, the allegations are damaging to their reputations and could invite regulatory or even criminal scrutiny. Section 7. What could the defendants argue? In any high-stakes civil lawsuit, the defense's strategy is just as critical as the plaintiffs. For the defendants, including Stake, Drake, and Adin Ross, the initial response will likely be a comprehensive and forceful denial of all allegations. This isn't just a simple, "we didn't do it." It's a strategic legal maneuver designed to put the full burden of proof squarely on the plaintiffs. The defense will likely assert that the entire lawsuit is a work of fiction, built on baseless speculation and a fundamental misunderstanding of their business operations and promotional activities. They will likely state that they never participated in any scheme to artificially inflate stream counts, whereas that all their promotions were legally compliant and transparent, and that they absolutely did not use casino funds to pay for fake streams or bot farms. This initial broad-shouldered defense sets the stage for a multi-pronged counterattack, aiming to dismantle the plaintiff's case piece by piece. A central pillar of their defense will almost certainly be the nature of Drake's promotional deal with Stake. This was not a back-alley handshake. It was reportedly a formal high-value endorsement contract, potentially worth hundreds of millions of dollars. The defense will frame this as a standard legitimate business arrangement, common in the worlds of entertainment and sports. They'll argue that Drake was contracted as a brand ambassador, and his streams were part of his contractual obligations to promote the Stake brand. The defense will likely present this as a transparent relationship, not the secret fraudulent scheme the lawsuit alleges. They will contend that the payments he received were for his celebrity endorsement and marketing services, not as a kickback for participating in a racketeering enterprise. The goal here is to normalize the relationship, portraying it as business as usual in the modern creator economy. The defense will also mount a vigorous challenge against the application of the RICO Act itself. This is a critical battleground, as a RICO claim dramatically raises the stakes with the threat of tripled damages. To succeed, the plaintiffs must prove the existence of a coordinated enterprise and a pattern of racketeering activity. The defense will argue that the plaintiffs have failed to meet this exceptionally high legal standard. They may contend that the various parties, Stake, Drake, Adin Ross, and Twitch, did not constitute a formal or informal enterprise with a common criminal purpose. Instead, they were independent actors pursuing their own business interests. Furthermore, they will argue that the alleged actions, such as promoting a sweepstakes casino or receiving endorsement fees, do not qualify as racketeering activity under the strict definitions of the law. They will likely characterize the RICO claim as a sensationalist overreach, an attempt to turn a commercial dispute into a federal racketeering case. Another key defense tactic will be to demand concrete evidence. The lawsuit alleges that Stake.us money was funneled to stream farms or bots to inflate viewership. The defense will demand hard proof of this money trail. Where are the invoices, the wire transfers, the contracts with these alleged bot farms? They will argue that without a clear and unbroken paper trail connecting stakes funds directly to illicit stream manipulation services, the entire accusation is nothing more than speculation and conjecture. They will also challenge the very foundation of a class action lawsuit, whether the plaintiffs were actually harmed. In any class action, the named plaintiffs must demonstrate that they suffered a real, tangible injury. The defense will likely argue that the sweepstakes casino users who are suing were not financially harmed, as they voluntarily participated in a legal sweepstakes promotion. They may also argue that any alleged harm to other artists or creators is irrelevant to, and therefore, the plaintiffs lack the legal standing to bring these claims on behalf of a wider, undefined class. This could be grounds for a motion to dismiss the case entirely before it even gets to trial. Section 8. Possible outcomes of the lawsuit. The legal road ahead has several potential forks. The very first move from the defendants will likely be to file a motion to dismiss. This is a standard defensive play in complex litigation. In this motion, they will argue that, even if all the plaintiffs' allegations were true, they failed to state a valid legal claim. They'll attack the lawsuit on technical grounds, arguing it's full of legal flaws, that the evidence presented is insufficient to proceed, or that the powerful RICO statute simply does not apply to this set of facts. The presiding judge will then review the arguments. The judge could agree with the defense and throw out the case entirely, ending the matter then and there. Alternatively, the judge might grant a partial dismissal, throwing out certain claims, like the RICO charge, while allowing others to proceed. Or, the judge could deny the motion completely, signaling that the case has enough merit to move forward. If the case is not dismissed, it enters the discovery phase. This is often the longest and most grueling part of a lawsuit. It is an evidence-gathering marathon where both sides are legally required to exchange information. Lawyers will issue subpoenas for mountains of documents, internal emails, financial records, and endorsement contracts. Key individuals, including potentially Drake and Adin themselves, would likely be required to sit for depositions, sworn testimony given under oath outside of court. This is where the plaintiffs would try to find the smoking gun, the paper trail, the incriminating email, the testimony that confirms their allegations. The evidence unearthed during discovery is often what makes or breaks a case, and it will be crucial in determining the final outcome. Given the immense costs, risks, and potential for negative publicity associated with a public trial, many high-profile civil cases end in a settlement. A settlement is a confidential agreement between the parties to end the lawsuit, typically involving a financial payment from the defendant to the plaintiff. Crucially, a settlement is not an admission of guilt or wrongdoing. It is a pragmatic business decision to avoid the uncertainty of a jury verdict and the continued drain on resources and reputation. For the defendants, it can be a way to make the problem go away quietly. For the plaintiffs, it provides a guaranteed financial recovery without the risk of losing at trial. Finally, if no settlement is reached, the case proceeds to trial. Here, all the evidence and arguments would be presented in open court before a judge or jury, who would then decide whether the defendants are liable. If the plaintiffs win, the financial consequences could be staggering. A jury could award significant damages to compensate for the alleged harm, and if the RICO claim succeeds, those damages would be automatically tripled by law. If the defendants win, they are cleared of all allegations and pay nothing. Regardless of the winner, a trial would make vast amounts of previously private information public, offering an unprecedented look behind the curtain of the streaming and online gambling industries. Section 9. Why this case matters to everyone. This lawsuit is about more than just Drake and Adin. It has the potential to impact the music industry, the world of online streaming, and how fans interact with their favorite celebrities. For the music industry, this case shines a bright light on streaming fraud. Streaming numbers determine chart positions, awards, and how much artists get paid. If those numbers can be manipulated with money, it calls the fairness of the entire system into question. Streaming platforms like Spotify and Apple Music are watching closely. This case raises big questions about online casinos and influencer marketing. The lawsuit describes Stake.us as an unregulated platform. If the court finds it moved money for fraudulent purposes, regulators could increase scrutiny and lawmakers might create new rules for sweepstakes casinos. It could also change rules for influencers and celebrities. New transparency requirements when they promote products, especially gambling-related ones. For fans, this is a reminder that online fame is complex. It shows how money, technology, and promotion are connected in hidden ways. The idea that popularity can be bought could disappoint fans who believe in talent. It might make people more skeptical of what they see online. Fans might demand more honesty and transparency. Trust between artist and audience is important, and cases like this can test that trust. In the end, this is about fairness and integrity. Are music charts a true reflection of what people listen to? Are online platforms safe and transparent places to spend time and money? These are the bigger questions this lawsuit raises.